What's up, everybody? This is Bob. This is my second TED video, and for my second video, I wanted to talk about competition and the nature of competition in sports, and sort of give a new, at least for me, it was new, uh, kind of spin on it. And I wanted to preface my talk with two, I guess, seemingly unrelated things. The first is a quote from Arthur Ashe, and if you're not familiar with tennis, Arthur Ashe is, I think he was the first African American men's Wimbledon champion, and he's really known for advancing social causes, and he has a number of great quotes. And one that I really like is quote, "You're never really playing an opponent. You're playing yourself, your own high standards, and when you reach your limits, that is real joy." And so before getting into that, my second story actually came from someone who is nothing like Arthur Ashe. Probably might know him. His name's Ken Lake. He's our basketball coach. But it was during our last game against Dayton Christian. At halftime, we were getting killed, and like by a lot. And at halftime, he all he could keep saying was play like there's no scoreboard. Ignore the score, just get better. And he basically kept repeating that. And I guess the way I took that was sort of you're playing against yourself. And I guess the way that the two things are similar is that when you're competing, and in most sports you're competing against an opponent or multiple opponents, and but really you're competing against yourself, and to succeed you're going to have to satisfy um, a goal you've set, or um, satisfy your own standards to truly win. Another story in sports history, I guess, there's a famous quote from John Wooden. He's one of the probably the greatest basketball coaches of all time, and I guess sometime during his coaching career, it was probably in the 70s. One of the players on his team was a senior, and it was coming up to his last game as a college player. And he was talking to Coach Wooden about it, and he was basically kind of distressed that this was his last game, and he was discussing how his emotions would be at the end, and um, Wooden basically said, "You'll you'll never really be satisfied if you go in only thinking about how it's your last game as a college basketball player, uh, but you'll end the day truly happy with yourself if you play so that looking back you'll simply be proud of what you've done, and regardless of score, um, if you can look back and say I truly did my best and put forth as much effort as I can, um, then you'll really find happiness." And to kind of tie all three stories together, I've found in the various sports things I've done that I'm really only like satisfied over the long term when I've won not only against an opponent or won a game or match against uh, a difficult opponent, but achieved something personal. And for a lot of people or teams, for instance, this can be just facing a whole season of adversity together, um, and then at the end, whether you've won a championship or not, if you can look back and say, we endured this together and we've come out on the other side uh, after having worked hard and potentially going through adversity, uh, we've come out as better individuals and a better team, then that's really where you find sort of enduring pride or happiness with what you've done. And I think that's a lesson, sort of I've learned, is that um, when the game's over or when the season's over, I'm really only happy when, uh, regardless of whether I've won or not, have I succeeded personally, and not just through score, but um, have I represented myself well? Have I uh, handled adversity well? And I think at the end of the day, that's truly what defines competition. Is you have two opponents, but the opponents, for those two opponents, they're truly competing against themselves and what they're truly able to do. And in the end, winning in sports, uh, I think at a personal level, comes down to how well uh, you can say you've done as an individual against your personal standards, and whether you're satisfied um, with how you've handled adversity and and achieved your goals. So that's, I guess, sort of the lesson I've learned, and I hope it helps um, any athletes. But I think it also applies to a lot of things you can do in life. Um, and I hope this helps. Thank you for listening.